Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leathercraft, and we are going to take a look at the Little Wonder. In our project videos, we set everything by hand. That's exactly the point. We don't need equipment to create beautiful leather projects. But once in a while, you hear me say, if you've got the equipment, use it. This is the equipment I'm talking about. For us crafters, a little bit higher ticket item, but worth every penny. We can set our spots, grommets, eyelets, snaps, rivets. We can even punch holes with this if we want to. All right, anything I use in this video, weaverleathercraft.com, or check below. We've got links there, going to take you straight to our website. So let's step over to my shop. I have two set up. We'll look at some setup, some adjustment. We'll set some snaps, rivets, and spots. There are two ways we can set this up on our work table. This is a little less common, but in all honesty, this is my favorite way to go. I've got this bolted down, simply a 2x4, but now it's very sturdy on my work table. This is going to help me in two places. I tend to like to set my closure on a pouch, or at least the first time I make that design, I want to set that after I've sewn in my gussets. So therefore, easily slide my pouch onto this. Ample room for my flap, but also, I've got about 3 inches of depth here. If I curl the throat, I can get about 4 inches. That's typically more than enough for a standard purse or bag. Now, the second biggest place this is a help for me. Perfect example. I'm going to harden this. I'm going to bake it, mold it, and harden this into a circular shape. At that point, I'll dye it, top coat it. Then I'm going to drop in my spots inside of each one of these squares. So therefore, I can easily drop my spots in, or even rivets all the way across. I've got no issue. Whereas on a table, it's just not going to do that. Now, the second way we can set this up, and more common, and that's to simply bolt this onto our table. It's going to work nicely for us. But a big help, say we're working on belts. We're going to drop in spots, rivets, grommets. What I've got to do is come from my work surface. I've got to bring this up about 2.5, almost 3 inches. Go over my anvil and then back down. This is going to wag around. It's not difficult. It's just going to be a little bit irritating. So let's make 2 blocks. Drop those in on each side. Now, oddly enough, I can use a 2x4 and a 1x4, and that's perfect for my guide. That guide sits right on that. So with that same belt, now we're simply running across that. Super easy to do, easy to line up. Now, you can bolt these onto your table, but what I tend to like to do is leave these kind of floating. So therefore, I can drop these on either side or one side. Makes the whole process very easy, okay? I'm set up for a double cap, ready to go. With a tubular rivet, we don't have to pre-punch our hole. With a double cap, varying opinions out there, but I want to punch my hole, snap my cap down, then when I drop that in, look at that. Perfect each and every time. And if you've ever set a rivet where it offsets, that is never an issue right here. Okay, I'm going to set up for line 24s because again, so easy to do. With our Little Wonder, we can set line 24s, line 20s, and segma, and they set beautifully. If you've ever set a snap and you pick up the wrong setter, done it myself, it crushes that post. The problem is, it's going to take more time to get that out, and we're probably going to ding our project doing it. This is super easy. Now on the surface, this can be confusing because we've got 2 throats and 2 anvils. It really isn't. It makes perfect sense. So right here, we typically want to pair our cap with the female piece with a flange on the outside. So therefore our setter, that cap sits right in there. So let's drop that in on our base. And we're going to talk about adjustments here shortly. We can adjust this up or down depending on the thickness of the leather, but also our level, we can adjust that. Okay, next piece. If we notice, we've got a little rubber collar on here. The female piece with the flange on the outside pops right in. So easy to figure out. Let's take that on the top. Now, line 20, line 24, they'll push through our leather, but it doesn't set well. So let's just go ahead and pre-punch our holes for all 3 snaps, because usually I'm going to be setting this upside down for my cap on the face, and I'll never be able to see my mark. So, rule of thumb, let's just pre-punch for all of our snaps. Solves a lot of problems. Look how easy that is. Clean, straight, and that post rolled right down in there. Okay, let's jump over to our base. With this, Again, easy enough. Notice we've got a post here. Well, that piece is going to sit right on that post. So let's drop that in for our anvil. There we go. Now on this piece, notice the flange on the inside, that snaps right in there. So really, no confusion there. Let's take our piece, and again, depending on whether you want the base up or down, let's go down. Perfect every time. How easy is that? So again, great way to go to get that snap clean and straight each and every time. All right, let's jump over to spots, one of my favorites. And the reason for that is spots look great, they're inexpensive, and they're easy to add. Now, most of my videos, I set these by hand. So we've got to take our spot, mark our leather, press our craft knife through. 5 steps. It can be done, but it's a little bit tedious. Right here, this is super fast. Now, we've got throats and anvils for a number of sizes. Right here, I'm going to use a 1/4 inch. So let's load that in our throat. How easy is that? Perfectly flush. Our tines have been around. Let's set one more. With my guide, perfectly in line, looks good, clean and straight every time. So spots, great way to go, easy way to set. All right, one more. Let's look at a tubular rivet. For our tubular rivets, this is an old school rivet. It's going to come through, it's going to star on the back. Here, we don't need to pre-punch our holes. On our setter, we've got a cut here, a T-shaped cut. So all we have to do is put the base of the post right in there and just flip it over. The rivet's going to sink down in there. Now we can do that when it's attached here, but that just gives us a little better look. So with this, in every time, and look at that star, starred perfectly. Now if you're not big on that, we have an anvil here that will add a cap to that. Very clean, very tight rivet, easy to set, and that is exceptionally strong. All right, adjustments, let's look at these. When we're adjusting this, there are 2 places we can adjust, right here at our knob, but right here, I have never seen this. I've used all kinds of setters, mostly cheap, but right here, we've got 3 screws in this. So therefore, if this is not perfectly level, and I've never had that happen with a Little Wonder, but if it's not, I can adjust that from 3 sides. Say you've got a spot, you're trying to set a spot, one tine is kicking out. Adjust this, that will cure that problem. So let's drop in our anvil. We're going to use a double cap rivet. So let's start here. Up here, we've got a knob, and we can turn this. It says up and it says down. So that's going to lift our anvil up or down, or our throat up or down. What we want to do to adjust this, let's bring this down, all the way down to the bottom. I want this outside collar to sit comfortably on my top grain. I don't want that to mark. We got a little bit of a mark there, but that's not an issue. So let's drop this in. Look at that, perfectly set every time, clean and straight. Now to adjust this, let's use a 4 to 5 ounce. And this is funny, if you've ever tried to set a 1/4 inch rivet on 4 to 5 ounce leather, it will make your head explode. I've set 1,000,000 rivets by hand. I cannot pull that off. It's going to offset on us. So let's do this. Let's come over here. Obviously we're too high. My outside collar's a little bit high on that. So let's go down 2 turns. There's 1 and there's 2. Okay, let's test it. Good. Outside collar resting comfortably. Now let's see if this works, because this is almost impossible. Look at that. Perfect every time, not a bit of offset. This is a great piece of equipment. I hope I've represented the Little Wonder well. Great piece of equipment. But if you're anything like me and you've just destroyed the post on a snap or offset that rivet, very frustrating. If you pick up a Little Wonder, I am certain it will be a welcome addition to your shop. Good luck with your projects.